Hello, good evening, viewers. My name is Father Loyola Amalraj, a senior priest from the Archdiocese of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, United States. I would like to invite you to listen to some of the reflections that I have had on the 30th Sunday of the Ordinary Time, particularly the Gospel narrative, Mark chapter 10, verses from 46 to 52, moved my heart. This is Bartimaeus, the blind man's story. It's not about miracle happening in response to his tremendous faith, which is true, but much more deeply, it's more about faith, unstoppable faith that he demonstrated while he was not being schooled, just as the disciples by Jesus Christ. Contrary to all odds, he began to experience something deeply in the midst of experiencing a humiliating situation where he had to beg for his life. And the society, people like the educated Pharisees, called him a sinner because they said to him he was born blind because he was a sinner, something they had problem to agree with. And people also didn't seem to pay him any attention. So he was at the bottom of things. But then he hears about Jesus of Nazareth. So he simply believes, probably vaguely recalled how God would come as a son of David. And he began to believe that God could come and visit humanity as a human being. And he had no problem that such God would be taking care of the rejected and people considered sinners. So he discovers a unique faith in the midst of all kinds of odds. And therefore, when he heard Jesus was coming, he simply started crying out, Jesus, son of David, have pity on me. All that he wanted Jesus to give him was to enable him to see, to be able to see. And he proclaims him as master, and so on. Jesus is so awed by his extraordinary faith. This is the kind of faith he wanted his disciples to have, that his coming into the world as a human being was to open different ways through which God's kingdom would be breaking into, such as humbling moments of life, that the disciples had problem finding sense, as we heard in the last week. They were looking for more power and glory. And Jesus simply said, whoever wants to be great must be your servant, and so on. And in the previous week's gospel too, the young man comes. He has been very rich. He has been morally a very good person, and he was a good man as recognized by Jesus. He thought being good earned him earthly wealth, and therefore he wanted to earn ways of acquiring wealth in heaven. But Jesus told him that that was not how kingdom's ways were. And in order for him to find this wealth, he would go out and sell not some things, but everything. And he was disappointed. He could not give up his prestige and wealth. He walked away. Whereas this man jumps into believing that. I was told of a man from Arlington Heights in Chicago who was thrown into a dumpster a few hours after he was born, and his name was Sean McDonald. Neighbors heard his cry, and somehow they rescued him, later on adopted him. Now, as a grown man at 34 years, everything was told by the adopted parents. He's so enraged. He just cannot fathom, how could my loving parents eject me and throw me into garbage? So how would he experience healing? Perhaps to be able to relate to someone like Jesus, who was thrown away, discarded by the society, even as he remained good, holy, and innocent. He accepted it and transformed his suffering into glory. Only in trusting such a Savior would heal him fully. So, my friends, I suggest that you consider your own humiliation, losses of things, the heartaches and headaches and rejections, humiliation of things, and so on. They are not punishment from God. They can propel you to jump like Bartimaeus and simply believe In God's time, all will be reversed, and therefore I dare to trust Him. At that very moment, we leap into that great faith, which becomes an experience of God's love mysteriously. I hope this helps you. Take care and God bless.